Hello, powerful minds, and welcome back to Powerology, the channel where we strengthen your mind and shield your energy from the traps of human behavior. Today, we're going to talk about a silent epidemic, a condition that affects millions of people, especially women, but many men too, and which is often disguised as a virtue. The good girl or nice guy syndrome. Do you recognize yourself in this role? Are you that person who says yes to everything, even when your inner voice is screaming no? Do you bend over backward to meet others' expectations, often sacrificing your own needs, your time, and your peace of mind? Do you have a paralyzing fear of displeasing, of getting into conflict, or of being seen as selfish? If you nodded in agreement, know that you are not alone. The need to please is a subtle and devastating trap. It wears the cloak of generosity and kindness, but underneath, it hides chains of fear, low self-esteem, and a profound self-negate. Society often applauds the nice person, but it doesn't see the very high price they pay. Chronic exhaustion, resentment, anxiety, and a life lived not for themselves, but for others. In today's episode, we're going to tear down this facade. We will expose the brutal truth behind the good girl syndrome. We will understand its psychological roots, identify the clear signs that you are trapped in it, and most importantly, we will give you a map, a practical guide to break free. Prepare for a journey of self-discovery that may be uncomfortable, but is absolutely liberating. It's time to stop being just nice and start being whole, authentic, and finally, the true master of your own life. Stay with us. The roots of the need to please. Where does this fear come from? Before healing any wound, we need to understand how it was opened. The compulsive need to please doesn't come from nowhere. It is forged in our life experiences, often starting in childhood. For many, the root is in conditioning. We were taught that to be loved and accepted, we needed to be obedient, helpful, and not cause trouble. Love and approval were conditional. You received them when you pleased others. Saying no, expressing a contrary opinion, or putting your needs first could result in punishment, rejection, or the withdrawal of affection. Thus, we learned a dangerous equation. Pleasing equals safety and love. Displeasing equals risk and abandonment. Another deep root is the fear of rejection. As social beings, our most primitive fear is being excluded from the group. For those suffering from the good girl syndrome, this fear is amplified. The possibility of someone not liking you, being upset with you, or criticizing you is felt as an existential threat. So, to avoid this terrifying feeling of rejection, you mold yourself, adapt, and becoming a social chameleon, always trying to guess what the other person wants so you can deliver it. Low self. When you don't recognize your own intrinsic worth, you seek validation outside of yourself. The constant yes becomes a way to buy value. If I am useful, if I please, then people will like me, and I will have worth. You become dependent on praise and external approval like a drug, and the idea of denying a request and losing that source of validation is unbearable. It's a vicious cycle. The more you efface yourself to please, the less you respect yourself, and the more dependent you become on external approval. Recognizing these roots is not about blaming anyone, but about understanding the mechanisms operating in your subconscious and starting to dismantle them. Clear signs that you suffer from the good girl syndrome. The good girl syndrome manifests in daily behaviors that you may have normalized. Let's look at some clear signs. See how many you identify with? First, extreme difficulty in saying no. The word no seems stuck in your throat. You make up excuses, postpone the answer, or simply give in and say yes. Feeling immediate resentment. You feel responsible for the happiness and convenience of others above your own. Second, constantly apologizing. You apologize for everything, even for things that are not your fault. You apologize for having an opinion, for needing something, or simply for existing. The phrase "I'm sorry" is a crutch to try to soften any possible friction. Third, avoiding conflict at all costs. The mere possibility of a confrontation causes you anxiety. You prefer to swallow your pride, accept unfair situations, and silence your own opinions to maintain a superficial peace. You confuse peace with the absence of conflict, but true peace comes from authenticity, not omission. Fourth, feeling overwhelmed and resentful. Your schedule is always full of the commitments and favors you've agreed to do for others. You feel exhausted, drained, and underneath a forced smile, a feeling of bitterness and resentment grows, because you feel that everyone takes advantage of you without realizing that you were the one who gave them permission. Fifth, your opinion changes, depending on the environment. You have difficulty maintaining a firm position. In a group, you agree with the majority, so as not to stand out. You fear that your true opinion might displease, and so you prefer to become an echo of others' opinions. If you recognized yourself in several of these signs, do not despair. Recognition is the first and bravest step towards change. You are not a weak person. You have just learned a survival pattern that has now become a prison, and we are going to show you the key to get out of it. Pleasing everyone might seem like a noble path, but the road of compliance leads directly to the cliff of burnout and loss of identity. The price of being too nice is devastating. Firstly, your mental health pays the bill. The anxiety of trying to please everyone, the stress of an overloaded schedule, and the depression that comes from self-negation are direct consequences. You live in a constant state of alert, trying to manage others' expectations, which is mentally exhausting. Secondly, your relationships become superficial and unbalanced. By not showing who you really are, with your opinions and limits, you prevent true intimacy. People connect with the mask you wear, not with your authentic self. Furthermore, this behavior attracts exploitative people. Energy vampires and narcissists can smell the difficulty of saying no from miles away and see you as an inexhaustible source of supply. You find yourself surrounded by relationships where you only give and never receive. Third, you lose the respect of others and, worse, of yourself. Paradoxically, people who do not set boundaries are not seen as nice, but as weak or as easily manipulated. People may like your utility, but they rarely respect someone who does not respect themselves. And every time you say yes when you mean no, you send a message to your subconscious. My needs don't matter. I am not important. This continuous self-betrayal erodes your self-esteem from the inside out. Finally, you betray your own dreams. All the time and energy you spend solving others' problems, meeting requests, and fulfilling others' agendas is time and energy you are not investing in your own projects, hobbies, rest, and growth. Your life becomes a series of reactions to external demands, instead of a conscious creation based on your own values and desires. The price of trying to be everything to everyone is, in the end, being nothing to yourself. Okay, you've understood the problem, the roots, and the consequences. Now, the most important part. How to get out of this trap. Liberation from the good girl syndrome is a process, a daily practice of strengthening your self-esteem and boundary muscle. Step 1. Start small with no. You don't have to transform overnight. Start by saying no to smaller risk things. When a salesperson offers you something you don't want, say a firm no thank you without excuses. When offered a dessert you don't want, politely decline. Practicing no in safe situations will help you gain confidence to use it in more important situations. Step 2. Use the positive no or sandwich technique. If a direct no seems too aggressive for you at first, soften it. Thank them for the opportunity. Say no. And if you want, offer an alternative. For example, I'm very grateful that you thought of me to lead this project. At this moment, I can't take on this responsibility, but I can help brainstorm someone else who would be great for the role. Step 3. Give yourself time to respond. One of the tactics of those who ask is to press for an immediate answer. Don't fall for it. Give yourself the power of time. Say, I need to think about it. I'll give you an answer tomorrow, or let me check my schedule, and I'll let you know. This takes you out of the pressure of the moment and gives you space to evaluate if you really want to and can do it, allowing you to formulate a no calmly, if necessary. Step 4. Redefine guilt. When you start saying no, the feeling of guilt will appear. It's your old conditioning screaming. Instead of giving in to it, stop and analyze. Ask yourself, am I being selfish, or am I being responsible with myself? Am I being cruel, or am I just setting a healthy boundary? Remember that every no to a request that would overwhelm you is a yes to your peace of mind, your health, and your priorities. You are not responsible for the other person's disappointment upon hearing your boundary. Step 5. Identify your values and priorities. What is really important to you in life? Your family, your career, your health, your creativity. Having clarity about your priorities gives you a powerful filter. Before saying yes to something, ask yourself, is this aligned with my values? Does this bring me closer to my goals or divert me from them? When you have a very strong yes for your own life, saying no to the rest becomes much easier. The journey to break free from the good girl syndrome is, in essence, the journey back home to your authentic self. It's about learning to give yourself the same love, respect, and consideration that you so generously distribute to others. So, powerful minds, did the good girl or nice guy hat fit at any point? Recognizing yourself in this pattern is not a reason for shame, but an invitation to transformation. The need to please is a prison whose bars are forged by our own hand, but the key to freedom is also with us. It is called self-esteem boundaries and the courage to be who we really are. Remember, saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a real person. Setting boundaries doesn't push away the right people. It only pushes away those who are interested in taking advantage of you. The people who truly love you will respect your needs. Powerology is here to remind you that your value is not in your utility to others, but in your authentic existence. If this content brought you clarity, if it gave you a drop of courage to start saying your first no's, then our mission has been accomplished. Join our community of minds, seeking power through wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss any of our deep end, and of course, leave a like if this video helped you. Share in the comments. What will be the first no you will give yourself permission to say? We want to hear about your journey. Together, we are stronger and more authentic. Until the next episode of Powerology, stop being just nice, be powerful, be you.